about them Irish?
I can't take it anymore. I need a national championship.
This is the Four Horsemen podcast.
And we are back. This is the Four Horsemen podcast, and we are joined by the original, the one and only P-Wagon 60, back on the show after, how long has it been, P? 2 years?
About 2 years. I have a 3-year-old now, so if we're doing that math there, something of the sort. I feel like a barn cat being let inside for the first time, going from our old days of Skype and ripping it that way to Riverside. That's something new. So bear with me while I learn technical stuff, but I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, I suppose that is a big change since last time you were on. We do it here. It's nice and easy to cut. I'm also joined by Tim, as always. Timmy, how are you doing?
Ciao. Hello, everybody.
Any big things happen recently, Tim?
Where do you want, personally or in Notre Dame wise?
In the world of college sports, I think something. If you got personal news too, by all means.
The one thing I did want to bring up, because I teased it a few episodes ago, and I wanted to talk about my World Cup experience. Absolutely awesome. And I wanted to tell you this specifically, Dylan, because I know you'll like it the most. So I went to the England versus Congo match, which was a round of 32 match, or 16, one of those two. And I was wearing an England jersey because I just happened to have it. It's laying around in my closet. It's been there since 2019. I was like, I'm never going to wear this again. I'll put it on. While I'm wearing this England jersey, I am actively rooting against the English the entire time. And all the England fans around me were very confused. When Congo scored that first goal, I went nuts. I'm high-fiving everyone. The Congo kid next to me is going nuts. I'm like, yeah! My first instinct was to help them do push-ups, but I realized it's not a Notre Dame game. Who was it called? The Beckham fan in front of me called me the C word several times. It was a great time. The one thing that I took away from there is the South in general sucks at opening bars ahead of games if they're at noon, because there was not a single bar open within a 5-mile radius of that stadium when you have England fans who it's 4:00 in the afternoon for them on a game day. So they'd all be not even the hotel bars are open. Nothing. Second thing, once you got into the stadium grounds, there was this little fan fest. And at the bottom, that you could go buy beer, walk around. It was hot. It was 110 degrees, not even exaggerating that day. And these Britain fans are walking around with beer, waters, sodas, whatever. And this one Britain fan kept trying to walk past the security guard with his beer in his hand. And he goes, "Why can't I just bought it here? Why can't I go in with it?" With his British accent. I'll try and fix that in a second. And meanwhile, people are walking by him with sodas and waters. He goes, "Is that not the fucking same thing?" Because you could bring in non-alcoholic into the stadium from that place, just not beer, which is, again, very stupid in general. I have to be on his side. The dumbest thing, though, and the dumbest thing in American sports that I think we all need to talk about is the 2 beer per person limit when you're at a concession stand. Because in theory, yes, sure, you have 2 hands, you get 2 beers. That way you're not being overserved. But it also prevents you from buying beers from other people, which I guess if you're in like a college game makes sense. But if you're at a professional environment, who cares? And also the way that they did this at the World Cup was beyond stupid. So you could buy 2 tall boys, which you could do at any sporting event. But right. You had to pour the beers, no matter what container you bought them in, into 16-ounce aluminum Michelob Ultra cups. So you had to try and fit 32 ounces of beer, like 48 ounces of beer and 32 ounces of cup. So it was very stupid. And so you're sitting there pounding half a beer, trying to get it in this cup. I just snuck them in my shirt half the time. I got caught at the end twice, and they say if you do it again, you're thrown out. And I'm like, 5 minutes left in the game. I don't really care. But In this, actually, sorry, 5 minutes left before they stop serving beer because they stopped serving at the 75th minute. Also, stupid. If people are getting that drunk, that where they do you think the last 15 minutes of a game is going to help them be sober enough to drive home by the by the end? That's not how it works. So all the rules of college or sports alcohol sales in general are all for show. None of them mean shit. I think we should just get rid of every single one. That's my piece.
You know, there is a difference in drinking culture where over in Europe you can just like take your beers outside. That's something they don't really let you do at bars here, and I think at stadiums it might be different, but I can understand why people would be confused by that. You always get up to some shenanigans, man. How many shenanigans you getting up to this upcoming football season? AKA, how many road games are you going to?
I'm going to Lambeau Field with Dr. Abby. Shout out. As long as I can get on my flight, because I apparently don't have a real ID. I got to figure that out. And then I'm going to Michigan State, Miami, BYU, and unfortunately Syracuse. And possibly SMU. I'm on the fence for that one. But
Syracuse is one of the nicest stadiums I've been to outside of Notre Dame.
well, once you're in, kind of, but
Yeah, but
getting
I
there.
mean, forget about the rest of it. And they have a great rugby field right next to where you tailgate. So there probably is going to be a game that day. Notre Dame, Syracuse. Highly recommend watching that game as well.
Yeah, but here's the problem: is that rugby field's not barely in the same county as Syracuse Stadium. It's like a 2.5 mile walk.
It's mincing words there, but there's a shuttle. But yeah,
there is a shuttle, but the line sucks, and it's going to be the last game of the season. It's going to be cold. It's going to be so cold. So if my thing is, I really hope we take a bus straight from where I live in Rochester to Syracuse. That would save me all this hassle, and I could just walk straight in from that.
The Miami game is going to be must-watch television. You're lucky to be at that one.
Yes, and Shane Gillis and Abella Danger will both be at my tailgate. They just don't know it yet, as well as apparently Freddie from Germany, who is a World Cup sensation on Twitter. I've invited him as well. So
big invites.
Yeah, no one's responded, but I believe they'll see it.
Dylan, I don't know if you have to cut this or not, but Freddie's an op. Freddie's part of the CIA.
Yeah. That was engagement farming, wasn't it?
He's one of the worst. I'm surprised he didn't take a picture of Freeman's desk and post it on Twitter. I'm back.
Well, let's get into what the people want to hear, which is a good old fashioned debate. Breaking news: Notre Dame. Actually, let's take a step back. Let me walk you through the day. At first, there was breaking news that Ohio State had entered into an agreement with Chase Bank to do a jersey patch. This was expected because there was a leaked picture a couple days or weeks before. And Ohio State goes for, and the quote, I swear to God, was an expected industry leader at upwards of 17 million, but most reports have actually kept it more towards 15. And everyone was talking about that, including some Notre Dame people, boasting about how, we would never swoop so low. And then just hours later, Notre Dame announces a deal with SoFi to put a patch on, which is shocking for Notre Dame, but to do so for an annual return of $18 to $20 million a year, which is going to be about $3 million more than Ohio State. And then people that looked into that heard more towards 20. So Notre Dame's kind of the top of the food chain at the moment for this jersey patch, but the obvious needs to be said. The school with all the tradition in the world, with no names on the back, with no sponsorships on the field, putting a jersey patch on. Tim, you are going to represent the side here that absolutely hates it. I think a lot of people agree with you. And I know where I stand, but I think P-Wagon is kind of on the opposite side where he's embraced it. So, Tim, I'll let you make your first cut at it, and then we'll go over to P, and then we'll talk more.
Well, I think it's everything you said. It's a little hypocrisy. I understand that you want to bring in more revenue. I just think there is better ways to do it, especially after we've been saying tradition, everything you said, no names in the jerseys. Always trying to keep a traditional look, no logos in the field anywhere, none of that. But then the one thing that we're going to do is put a patch on our shoulder. And I just don't. First off, it looks like ass. Second off, there was better ways to do this rather than keep the fans in the dark. Like, hey, no, we would never do something like that. Like, yeah. Meanwhile, we're figuring out how to do something like that. And the third thing is, you could have put it somewhere else. Like, why not put the patch on the back or something where it's not like stand out? I understand there's people are saying you should have had the white background looks like crap, but if it was blue, it'd be fine. Well, corporate brands, they want their brand name. They want it to look exactly like it is. They don't want to alter their brand name because that's their brand. They're trying to push their brand. So they're doing this whole thing. So that will never happen. What I do wish would happen is we got more out of this than what we did. I understand 20 million is leading industry leading, whatever, but not by that much. Not by as much as I thought it should be for Notre Dame. Christopher Russo, Mad Dog, was saying that Notre Dame should never do this. We should be higher, better. And that kind of mentality should have allowed us to leverage any kind of sponsorship for even more, saying we could have played hardball and say, no, we're not doing it for 20 million. Okay, yeah, 30 million. Yeah, we're sold. I think they could have gotten more out of this. Lastly, I did put up a poll on the podcast account where I put a SoFi patch across the Golden Dome and asked people if they want an extra $5 million a year for one more patch. I believe the final results were 30% said no, 70% said yes. I was going to push it further the next day, but I held back because I didn't want us to get canceled and or 500 million notifications on there. But my next move, if people said yes, my next move was going to be put that patch on Touchdown Jesus and then see everyone freak out about that. But that was be borderline blasphemous, as well as I know I would have pissed off a lot of people. So I'm glad, and people would have been like, every time someone matches with Touchdown Jesus, Notre Dame beats their ass, which is true. So that's why I didn't do it. But I thought about it. I want you all to know that.
11 Tims versus this current Notre Dame defense. How many yards do you get?
Me?
Yes.
I'm getting at least one. On a trick play of some sorts, I'm getting at least one.
Well, I got nothing else from there. There's no actual segue, but you make really good points overall, and this is not P-Wagon versus Tim. This is me against the entirety of Twitter, because everyone on there seems to have some issue, this, that, or another way. And I may just be an old man now, yelling at the clouds, but money is green. 20 million a year is going to pay, 90% of our NIL, to leave the rest of everything going towards what the players need to continue. My big, I don't know what the word I want to use here is, contention is with those who say tradition is now out the window because SoFi is on the jersey patch. Tradition went out the window when the Shamrock Series started. That point blank period. When Notre Dame sold out to get an extra jersey a year for the Shamrock Series, you can throw every other tradition out the window because they've already done something to grab money from the fans. Tradition further went out the window when Under Armour did the Freeman collection. And every bag of milk out there is wearing his polo and his sweatshirt and his quarter zip, trying to look like Freeman. No one's going to look like Freeman. Money is money. You need the money to compete. Yes, it's only $3 million more than what Ohio State is making, but Ohio State is one of the premier programs in the nation. I won't say that about other Big Ten schools, but, Notre Dame, Ohio State, you talked about them in the same sentence. Personally, I don't care if CJ Carr looks like Lightning fucking McQueen out there. I want a national championship, and however it can get, give me all the patches. I want him to look like a NASCAR. And every time he throws a touchdown, he yells ka-chow. Like, I want Jasper Scaife looking like Doc Hudson. I don't care. I want these people to make as much money as possible to bring us the national championship. So eventually the Horsemen podcast can change the intro music to "We Got a National Championship." Point blank.
Sponsored
period.
by SoFi.
sponsored by SoFi. I'm currently wearing a SoFi polo right now. I know you all can't see this audio podcast, but anything you can do to give you that competitive advantage, from a barber in the new Shields Family Hall to putting patches on things, or even, Notre Dame sold out, quote unquote, when they brought alcohol into the stadium. It's all revenue streams to reach a common goal at the end of the day. So it's really, my whole beef isn't with the people who don't like it, it's with people who are trying to lean on this traditional aspect when tradition hasn't been a thing since 1989.
I do want to say the barbershop and the new the new Goog Shields Hall with Julio cuts in there. That was pretty dope touch. That was a very dope touch.
But it feels, and Dylan, Tim, feel free to jump in. It feels like when you read these people on Facebook, on Twitter, the ones that are beating their chest about the return to tradition, they want us to play 1920s football with leather helmets, and the way you tackle was you ran into a wall until you got concussed. Like, it's not going to ever happen again. You have to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses right now are saying you have to throw a sponsorship on your jersey and play out that way. At least we're not La Pandiera, who is currently sponsoring lovely UTSA, who got caught with child labor laws. With friggin' Kansas, they have Ripple, which is a cryptocurrency, which is all going to take over one day. Like, there's so many worse companies it could have been. It could have been Lockheed Martin. Like, it could have been a whole bunch. It could have been, I'm not going to say the other ones I'm thinking of, but a certain company that was in the news a couple of years ago. There's so many worse companies it could have been. SoFi, yes, they do pretty, unsavory practices, but at the end of the day, it is a social finance company. They've been around, and they're paying Notre Dame $20 million just to wear a patch on the jersey.
So the one thing you said is, put as many sponsors on you want, but and it will help NIL. But that's one thing we don't know yet is how this money is being appropriated. At least not entirely. It's going across all sports, not just football. So it's not just a $20 million straight boost to the NIL for football. It's going to women's track. It's going to women's volleyball. It's going to everything. That being said, if that makes it sound better to me, honestly, because that's not like, okay, Notre Dame's selling out for them, football's selling out for themselves. They're selling out to maybe raise the rest of the academics or sports academics, which is fantastic. I'd rather have that. I think our basketball team definitely needs a cash influx. I think our football team does pretty well on NIL. We were ranked top 15-ish last year. You obviously want to be number one, but I think there's other ways to get there.
So I would imagine it just goes towards contributions the university needs to go for athlete payment, which isn't divvied up by sports. Like, the cap is for all sports, so it will make its way there, but Notre Dame's spending like 90% of their money on football, so it'll be mostly to football. I think with tradition, look, there's certain traditions that are more important than others, and some traditions don't necessarily matter too much. So what I mean by that is, like, Notre Dame having a traditional type of uniform where it's clean, it's simple, it's got the gold helmet, right? That's tradition. Whether or not there's a patch on it, that's kind of more of a minor detail with it, I think. Like, I think you can preserve a lot of your traditions that are core. You're independent. You have your player walk from the cathedral to the stadium. You have play like a champion today. Those things aren't going anywhere. And I think those are like the core traditions of Notre Dame football. I think it also goes into like the values and the outlook of the school, which are not changing. So, like, I don't think all tradition is dead. I think, yes, we've already, as P. Wagon pointed out with the Shamrock series and with like many, going back to the NBC deal, probably even further, you have compromised on some traditions for innovation, because that's kind of the balance. The argument I would make is that if Newt Rockne was alive and in charge of the Notre Dame, athletics right now, if he was the AD, we would have had a jersey patch the moment it was legal. I think that the man who invented basically nationwide schedules that took the train to play across the country, that leveraged Notre Dame's brand onto radio before everybody else, the man that popularized the forward pass, I think that man would be far more tradition breaking today
Do you know what he would have done? He would have done the patch, but he would have done it as a QR code for a link tree that has 28 different sponsors on it. And then we would have $1 million deal.
I get the slippery slope concern, because now what's the argument against putting a patch on the field? Putting a Coca-Cola board somewhere in the Notre Dame stadium. But to me, that's not the be-all, end-all. To me, that's more indicative of like the kind of school Notre Dame is, which is we're not going to try to squeeze out every dollar imaginable. We're not corporate. That's what I like about Notre Dame. You can have degrees of that. You can have elements of corporate sponsors and still kind of hold your larger ethos that you're a very independent school that considers who their partners are before partnering with them. Like, I'm looking at jersey sponsorships, and I think we all kind of wanted the Guinness because it's already a sponsor and the harp and everything, but there's still room there. Would you have an issue with that, Tim, if now that the cat's out of the bag, that they got little Guinness logo on the other patch?
You've been pushing the harp for a while. And so, again, it's entirely up to the company that's buying the sponsorship. And yes, Notre Dame has to agree to it, but Guinness could put the little pelican bird on there that drinks Guinness on there, or the little fruity flute or Fruit Loops sky little bird thing they have. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the harp. So
yeah, they negotiate what's going on though. Like the two sides would come.
They'll never do an alcohol brand because there's 18 to 20-year-olds on the team.
That's a good point.
For now, I'm not gonna say never on anything. They might bring Marlboro back and put that on a jersey. Who knows?
Well, they opened up liquor sales in the stadium, which was kind of a pretty big step for them.
Yeah. I can't wait to see someone score a touchdown and Steve Austin celebrate a touchdown, slamming 2 cans of beer together and pounding it in the end zone at Notre Dame Stadium.
Did they have that in place last season?
Yes.
Tim, what was that like? Did you find the crowd atmosphere better because of the alcohol sales?
Honestly, no change, because people were sneaking in shit anyways. Like, people that, I guess that's what I'm saying. People that were going to be drunk were going to be drunk. The amount of alcohol you're selling inside the stadium versus outside the stadium means nothing. It barely changed anything besides the fact that some people got more drunk and some people had to deal with more drunk people. That's really about it.
Gotcha.
And the real big thing, going off of what you said here, Dylan, was we're not corporate. But you look at the ticket prices. You look at how much you have to pay to park. I'm going to the Notre Dame Navy game in Gillette, and if I could tell you how much the parking just to go to Foxborough is, and that might be a Foxborough only problem because Route 1 only has so many parking lots, but the fact that they're corporate, but they're like a ninja corporate. They're like hidden in everything that they do. The different amounts of money you have to pay for XYZ. If you go to the fantasy football camp, it's $500 or more to do that camp. So yes, Notre Dame isn't shelling out like the Big 12 is with Monster, or bending the knee to corporate overlords at Culver's like the people from Wisconsin. But they're still corporate in the sense that money is being spent hand over fist to get that same experience. So it may not be corporate, thrown in your face corporate, but it's all hidden stuff every here and there. So I just have a really hard time saying, Notre Dame is this good old boy network with a whole bunch of Midwestern corn-fed players who do the right thing all the time. It hasn't been the way since Tommy Rees had that incident in 2011.
Allegedly.
That kind of brings up another point, though. Another reason why I'm okay with this is the amount of money. Like, $20 million a year is not insignificant when the NIL cap currently is 20.5. I think if it would have been like a rinky-dink kind of Big 12 deal where it's like they got $1 million a year, if Ohio State's deal was worth $2.5 million a year, I wouldn't even bother. But when the amount of money has such a meaningful impact on your ability to put a roster together in all your sports, but also towards, facilities, coaching hires, whatever it is you need to win, at this stage, I'm for it. And I also think there's an opportunity here. Like, we all agree college football landscape has changed pretty dramatically, right? Like, we lived through it. We were podcasting through it. Like, the NIL era, part 1, part 2, we're now entering kind of the post-phase era where the settlements from the class action lawsuits have been settled, and now we owe money. So people, we're in this new era. And in this new era, I'm sure as many of you noticed, the parity's gotten better. like Alabama doesn't have a two deep of 5 stars everywhere anymore. Nobody does. There's more talent spread across, and there's new talent, and there's new um, contenders, let's say, because of these new arrangements in college football. So, for example, Texas Tech. That is one school that has benefited a lot from the NIL era because they have rich donors, they've contributed to the NIL, and all of a sudden they have a decent football team, whereas they never really did. Like Texas Tech has got no meaningful history in terms of being at the top of college football. Miami, who does, but they've been able to turn it around overnight, kind of because of the NIL. There's a lot of schools like this. SMU is another one that SMU's been in the ACC for a couple seasons now, and they've been really good both years. And that's coming right from a G5 background. So this whole landscape is different. And I think, kind of getting to the point here, I think Notre Dame is maybe best positioned in the country right now because we're knocking on the door. We came in number 5 today in the preseason coaches poll. We are a favorite, one of the favorites to win the national championship this year. We have been recruiting at a level that is insane. The number 2 recruiting class in the country last year, number 2 currently. It's just stacking on top of each other. We just made an announcement for the Shields, the new Goog, so the new athletic facility for the football players. We'll talk about that. We are really, really well positioned here. We're right near the top. We have an opportunity to really put the pedal to the metal, step on the throat, so to speak, and kind of, I don't want to say dominate college football, but to really assert ourselves at that top echelon of college football, the way Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State had been in the previous era. I think Notre Dame's positioned to do that and do that long term, and to do that you need money. And I think this is a financial arms race now, and I'm okay with Notre Dame doing it. That's my long-winded way of saying that, but I think we're just in a new era, and there's a chance for Notre Dame to win 3 national championships in 10 years.
Well, so one thing I would have also, I agree with you. I think that Notre Dame's on the turning point of a potential dynasty, especially if they keep growing as they have over the past 3 years. I think it also has a lot to depend on Freeman sticking around. I think he said he is. I think he actually will, at least for another 5 years. I think, win or lose a national championship, I think he's going to stick around for a little bit longer because he loves it here so much, and everything that you just said that's getting put in Notre Dame, it's enjoyable. Why would you want to leave this? The one thing, going back to the SoFi thing, and this is not something that's in the deal or not in the deal. I have no idea. But what they should have done is a little sweetener, is to have every Notre Dame student have interest-free loans through SoFi up to X amount of dollars. That would have allowed me to be okay. That would have made me happy.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought Notre Dame's student aid is pretty generous with their own students under financial certain conditions. I thought
I don't know
if all the Notre Dame
don't
students
know.
are with SoFi. SoFi is doing a full scholarship for a year for a walk-on athlete every year, which is pretty cool, I think, because that'll probably get into the special teams talk. So, P-Wagon, do you have any kind of thoughts on SoFi there and how that could be utilized?
Just to talk about the financial aid really quick for Notre Dame, this is a plug for financialaid.nd.edu. This rant is brought to you by them. 100% of every student's demonstrated financial need is met. For families that have incomes that fall under $150,000, they're going kind of like the Ivy League route, and it's zero tuition for those who are under 150K. So they do have 70% of all undergraduates receiving some type of financial aid. And then families that have income up to 200K receive aid that covers at least half of the tuition. Now, we don't have to get into the whole piece about what tuition is in Notre Dame and all of that. And I wish I could speak from experience as someone who got rejected from Notre Dame famously after being waitlisted. But that's the financial aid portion. The other side, as someone who has a SoFi loan, they're okay. They're an okay company to work with. Like, I think, like I was making the joke before, I was trying to make an unsavory joke and I held my tongue, but you could have picked such a worse company to work with, just in general. The villains of the world have all the money, and they could see Notre Dame as their top button, because companies do kind of see NIL and jersey patches as a clear blue ocean where they can kind of do what they want. Is undiscovered land right now. So I'm glad that Notre Dame picked a company that at least had some sort of value, including that scholarship for the walk-on, because as we know, walk-ons are arguably some of the most important players on the team. The other kind of undiscovered path about this whole kid and caboodle with sponsorship is that while all 26 varsity teams are getting some type of kickback, in theory, and I'm just going to talk out loud here, there's a chance that there's going to be some type of trickle down economic effect to those club sports, to the interhall football, to the men's and women's rugby teams. While they may not be getting the money directly, having this money come into the program is only going to help those club sports as well down the line, because if the soccer team can afford all new gear, oh, what are we going to do with old gear? Give it to the club team. And now they're having brand new Under Armour gear. So it's just one of those things where I think it benefits everyone. The rising tide raises all ships. And I'm just looking at it from the aspect as a coach right now. I would love if my school got a kickback from any company to indirectly benefit the sport I coach. So that's kind of my thoughts right now.
That's fair.
Also, if we can start to incorporate CJ Carr with the Lightning McQueen meme, let's workshop that.
I think that's doable with AI technology these days.
Yeah,
His name is also Carr, so
yeah.
That kinda
We
works.
used to do the whole Thunder from Down. I used to do the Thunder from Down Under for the punter last year.
James Rendell.
James Rendell. You had John Sott, famously Blake Groupie. So yeah, if we can try to incorporate cars into this season, look out on my Twitter, PWagon60. I'll be putting cars memes into every Notre Dame game this year.
That reminds me, do you remember the time we bullied that national award for like kickers for not, or punters for not having our guy on it?
The Ray Guy Award for Bryce McPherson.
Yeah, but they put him on it afterwards.
Was it Bryce McPherson or the other one?
It was, yeah, I don't forget which one it was. Maybe it was Scott.
We
Groupie.
did.
Who knows?
We did bully National Award to get him on the Ray Guy list.
Well, let's start doing that now for everyone we can. We got to get Carr on a Heisman run.
I tried last year,
Start the car.
I tried.
Can I say something about that really quick? To start the car. I don't mean to change the topics, but people, I don't know, Tim, if you're part of this boat, Dylan, if you're part of this boat, but I'm not. Doing car bombs when CJ Carr throws a touchdown, I get it. But do people not read history books? Like, come on. Come on. That's all I can say.
Some of my family may have helped write this over the history, so I don't want to say too much.
It's just one of those things that you think of and you're like, it's not great. I understand there's a joke behind it, but I don't love it. That's all. It's what I think about sometimes when I read them.
It is a little harsh of a nickname. Like it is a lot. It is also kind of awesome at the same time.
You can't. It's one of those things that falls in too perfectly. Irish car bombs.
Yeah.
And his name is Carr, and he's dropping like the three things in a row. You have to make the connection. You can't just ignore it. I get it's not the greatest, but you know.
If Aeneas Williams scores a touchdown this year, we don't make an Odyssey joke. I haven't seen it yet, but like.
I'll try and think of one. I have seen it. I'll think of one by the time this episode's over.
I feel like Aeneas is perfectly Greek for that, but
I think my biggest contention with everybody doing Irish car bomb after a CJ Carr touchdown is you're going to be blackout hammered by halftime of every game. That is a lot of liquor.
Fake news. Fake news.
Well, I famously don't drink during games, so it's just me just being annoyed on Twitter after every touchdown.
Yeah. You know what hasn't changed since you left P-Wagon is Chicken Littles on Twitter have not changed.
Oh, buddy. Do I know it? I'm sitting in the background. I'm in the dark. I'm in the shadows. And it's good segue there. I just watched and all these people complain. The biggest complaint I saw, and this might be a segue, is the green jersey. Yeah, it sucks that it's against some nobody. Like, what was it against? Stanford?
But yeah, Dylan's the Chicken Little on that one.
Oh, this is an abomination because the monogram is off the jersey. Fuck you. Like, you didn't, if you went to the school and you feel that way, good for you. But if you're a Subway alumni, rock the little football dude. Like, whatever.
Yeah, I had no issues with that change at all. I just don't get why Stanford gets it.
Oh, it's an abomination to Our Lady. Oh, Our Lady? Did you go there? Like, come on.
I still remember the Clemson game during the COVID year where they're number one and we knocked them off. And we were winning up until the third quarter, and then Clemson took the lead. The game might have even been tied. And I remember like going on Twitter and seeing people giving up. Like people that may even listen to this show, like regular common folk on Notre Dame Twitter, were giving up like 10 minutes to go in the third quarter because Notre Dame had given up their lead. Just, it's over. The game's over. Like, come on, guys, have a little bit of faith. I just, there's so much of that. And the fact that we're still getting it in like the Freeman era where Notre Dame doesn't have, let's say, big game Brian Kelly instincts. I don't know. I get it. We're all emotional about the game, but have some hope,
Well, two things. In that, have you ever seen What About Bob?
No.
That hasn't made it to Canada yet.
It's only been 30 years.
We just got MySpace recently.
Well, What About Bob? He says, if you fake it, then you don't have it. Kind of like cardiac arrest, then he fakes a heart attack. So if we just lose our hope going into the fourth quarter because we gave up a touchdown, maybe we're faking it so we don't have it because we know we got it.
I hear you.
One thing, a lot of it's on Reddit right now. Like when I'm reading the Notre Dame football Reddit, people are like asking these different questions, and it's about recruiting. It's like, do you guys know who our 2032 recruiting class is yet? Hope we get all like, no, those people aren't even born as far as I'm concerned. Like, do you know who the quarterback's going to be in 2049? No, maybe it's my son. Like, but still, like, I don't know if it's a unique problem because we're in a vacuum, and when football games start, I'm just seeing Notre Dame tweets. But are we the whiniest fan base in all the nation? Like,
no,
maybe the whiniest. We might be one of the top 5 whiniest. I'll give that.
Yeah, gee, like, I can't even like begin. I'm like on Reddit right now, and they're all just like already giving up faith because we lost some third string nickel from Miami or whatever. Like,
Reddit in itself is its own little toxic world. Sometimes
didn't we make it to Reddit? Like, what were the subject of a thread once?
I
think you were involved in it.
The answer is yes, we were. It was a thing. They called us one of the worst podcasts out there, and then also one of the best. So, like,
yeah, I remember there was like it was extremes. Like people hated us or people loved us. Like we were defended and attacked.
But I did see y'all got a little bit of drama the other day with the Miami fan base. They thought you were that shit podcast that called them all thuds.
Yeah, we've got that.
Not them.
I'll do it right now. I won't hold back.
To shut up. The one thing that kind of bothered me last year because we've been getting it multiple times. I don't know if it's because we're the 4 Horsemen and there was 4 guys on that show and they just kind of think we were them. But like it was a YouTube show. The name of the show is something like Talking Irish or something ridiculous, like not ridiculous, but something not us, something clearly not 4 Horsemen. And to Timothy's credit, he did correct himself there. He is a pretty good troll, that Tim on Twitter, not our Tim, but Miami's Tim, and he corrected himself. So I don't mind that, but like at the same time, I don't want to be associated with that stuff. Like it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of gross when it came out.
We got in trouble back in the day for making fun of Alabama and their SAT scores like that.
We'll take collective guilt there, but one person in particular.
It was fully me on that account. So that, and I think that leads me to a bigger point. Now that I've been stepped away for 2 years and I haven't been tweeting for 2 years on the account, I'm just seeing the other side of it. And I love the fans. Like, I can't wait to go to Notre Dame Navy with the fans that are going to be there. I like talking to people about Notre Dame. Like, everything's awesome until you get to that 1% of the fan base who believe we were going to wear black jerseys against Indiana. But it's the loudest vocal minority that there is, and that's what makes the rest of the 99% of Notre Dame fans get a bad rap. The rest of them get the Chicken Little rap because of the 1% of fans who just tweet through it.
Well, every good story needs a heel. Yeah, even the good guys have that one bad guy that no one likes because he's trying to overthrow the system from within. So that's our
fair.
1%. What I did want to say, you guys, because you said the little football thing. I will put a picture of it up because you guys can't see it, but I got my season ticket holder gift today, and it is
That's cool.
the flag with the leprechaun holding the football, which I was like, sweet, this would be awesome as a new flag to put up at the tailgate, but it's only one-sided, so the back side is just green. So I do I'll hang it up on my wall somewhere, but I wanted to go back to say the whole breaking tradition thing that we were talking about. I love the little leprechauns. I think it's great for boosting merchandise sales, which then goes into NIL, which, like you said, trickles down to now other people get new stuff. If there's a club golf team, maybe they get new golf bags because everyone's going to have those little golfing leprechauns on them after last year. And so I do not mind a little bit of change because, like you said, it lifting tide raises all boats. I don't like a lot of change because if there's a way that I can buy one of those jerseys from last year, now that they're going to use one game worn, I'll do it because there's no patch on it. Am I going to buy the jersey this year with a patch on it? No. I'll buy the Shamrock Series one because there's no patch on it, but I'm not buying the SoFi patch jersey. I'm just not doing it.
I thought I read they're not going to sell that, or if they do, it'll be different. It'll be optional. You can get the one without the patch. I thought is what Notre Dame was.
I don't know yet.
Do.
I haven't looked into it yet. I haven't been to the bookstore yet. Which, by the way, you talk about corporate stuff. The bookstore.
Hell.
The bookstore is the biggest money. You can't walk through there as a non-fan and not spend $200. So,
and it's also, as much as I love it, it's criminally expensive. They do not make it consumer friendly, and they know us idiots will pay for it. Which fair enough.
Why would you? Why would you make it cheaper when everyone's paying that much?
I'm not complaining. They're just their factory. From what I've heard, other fan bases say it's the most impressive bookstore they've ever seen. I think it is industry leading for sure. But speaking of change and emotions and tradition, Notre Dame and USC have agreed to renew the rivalry. A 4-game series has been struck starting in 2030, going to 2033. It'll be at USC in week 1, then at Notre Dame in week 1, and then the next 2 games will rotate and be anywhere in weeks 1 through 3. Do you guys have any opinions on this? Because I might be a little too passionate about it.
Start week 0.
Have 2 opinions. First one, it's just sad that Lincoln Riley won't be able to coach in that game because he's going to get fired after this year. The second opinion, I texted this to one of my Notre Dame friends, and I said, I hope there's torrential rain in LA in 2030, and I hope there's a freak August snowstorm in South Bend in 2031. I hope this game is cursed with NC State bad weather without Brian Kelly being able to throw the ball 26 times in a rainstorm. That's my 2 points.
Can I one up you on the torrential rain in LA?
Yes.
I want to be 7th overtime, not double to the 7th overtime, and all LA or USC has to do is run a few extra yards. They are on a breakaway to win the game. As an earthquake hits and the player trips, that's what I would like. And he trips at the one, they lose that way. That'd be fantastic.
Talk about weather advantage. We're gonna have to play in the heat in LA instead of the December sun or November sun, and then they're gonna get Notre Dame at the nicest time of year. I have a really bad taste in my mouth with the way everything was handled. I thought USC acted in extremely bad faith. It's indisputable that the series was ended by USC because an extension was in place between Notre Dame and USC. It was agreed to. USC then heard about Notre Dame's college football playoff protection, meaning if we're in the top 12, we get in. And they used that as a reason to cancel the extension and saying negotiations are over. That was proven to be a lie immediately because everybody in every conference was made aware of that in 2024. So USC had lied about it, they didn't know about it, so they couldn't. It wasn't fair. They knew about it. So the series was ended by USC. I don't like the way their fan base has been directed to respond to some things. I would personally have preferred it if Pete Bavacqua just waited until new leadership was at USC, because we all know Lincoln Riley was the uh, person in Jen Cohen's ear about this. Lincoln Riley's not going to be there for much longer. If it's not this season, it will be the next season. I mean, he's going on year 5 and he's been pretty terrible. So he's not going to be there in 2030. And it sounds like USC faced a lot of financial and like just morale backlash from a lot of their alums that were maybe pressuring Jen to get the deal done. Notre Dame, I guess, lost the negotiation in the sense that they ended up moving it to September. I just would have rathered wait until new leadership was there, because I don't think Jen might be around for much longer had Notre Dame kind of said no thank you.
Oh, I think that would have happened if Indiana didn't cancel.
Possibly. Yeah, you could have left it open instead of immediately getting it done. I'm of the opinion that when the game plays matters. And as you guys have known forever, I've always complained about Notre Dame's October game. It should be on Thanksgiving. It used to be. We changed it for them because of the weather. That's not an excuse now. We should have been moving the game the other direction. And the fact that not only didn't keep the status quo, but we're now moving both games to September, I don't like that. We don't place USC in September. And making it a gimmicky week 1 game, which in a 24-team playoff is not going to matter as much as week 12, right? It's a week 1 game. It'll be, at least it's on campus, and at least I guess the game is back. But I'm so bitter about the way USC's acted that I don't think this should come back. I posed the question, is it better just to let it die with dignity than to kind of make a farce out of it? Because I think September, why are we, like, I love playing Michigan in September because that's history, that's tradition. That time of the year, that's how you test yourself, was that early September Michigan game. USC was the end. That's supposed to be the high stakes game. And I get it, times are changing, but USC's excuses are bullshit. What travel concerns? You move to the Midwestern Conference. What's the difference playing Notre Dame in October versus Northwestern in September and vice versa? You're telling me it's much easier for you to come to South Bend in September, but then you still have to go to Chicago anyway in October? Like, I don't buy that at all. The Big Ten was not preventing them from scheduling outside of September. The Big Ten was not going to get in the way of that, even though they prefer their games in September. It wasn't mandatory. It was never an issue in the Pac-12. What happened is they're getting their ass kicked in the Big Ten. They need to make the playoff soon, if not immediately. And the best way to do that, because to be fair, they do have a hard schedule this year. They got really fucked on the schedule. I get it. But this is so clearly motivated by the wrong intentions that I don't like it. I'd rather them kind of hold their ground and wait. But that's just me. Maybe I'm being too butthurt about it, but I the way, all the respect and love I had for USC as a Notre Dame kind of romantic, because I did have those things, I think is gone. I think whatever USC is now, they're not the USC that I knew. They're not the USC that you guys hated. I think the program with tradition and pageantry and honor is just gone. So that's my rant about it, but I'll let you guys take over.
Yeah, the way Notre Dame versus USC positioned the announcement, with USC showing like two sides handshaking, and then Notre Dame showed Xavier Watts flipping down the V after he picked off whatever fly by night quarterback was there that year. That's interesting. It's interesting when you juxtapose that. It's interesting that Notre Dame is also bringing back Michigan on their schedule, so you're going to get Michigan USC potentially week 1, week 2, which isn't going to be good for my heart. But a perfect idealized Notre Dame schedule, like you said, Dylan, would be, in my opinion, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, and some group of 6 team. I don't care who you throw. I don't care. Any of those. That's your September. Get a bye week. Maybe in that first week of October, maybe you get another bullshit ACC team there. USC, bye week, Navy. There's your October. And then November, do the rest of your ACC. Do your BC, your Clemson, because we have to add them to the schedule now. Like, you can do that. Maybe throw Miami in there every now and then. It's just the college football playoff has now precipitated that you get cupcake teams in, so you can bump up your number. And when it does go to 24 teams, I'm not going to be surprised if other rivalries go away to get them into the playoff, because at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to matter is getting those extra games in for the playoff.
So going to the 2014 playoff, I think that would also help kill college football because of what you just said. Teams canceling tough games and then only scheduling G5 teams. But that does open a theoretical door for G5 teams even right now. You have teams like Indiana canceling big games against Notre Dame. Teams like USC canceling big games against Notre Dame. Ohio or Texas wanted to cancel Ohio State because they can't beat them. All these big out of conference games, people are now all of a sudden tedious to play. Well, so they're going to start filling that with these G5 teams. Well, it's not going to take long for a G5 team to load up on NIL that might have money, like maybe Tulane, maybe, I don't know, anyone else. And they're just going to beat the hell out of one of these Power 5 teams that's supposedly a playoff team because they're not that good. And they play a cupcake conference schedule and they get blown out by one of the top two, Ohio State or Georgia, or whoever the top two teams are in their conference. And then they play nobody in the conference because all the conference teams that underneath the third or fourth team down all suck in every conference. Some conferences only have one good team. Some have none in the Power 5. Last year, the ACC had none. It's not going to take long for a G5 team to find some money and play like a Power 5 team with a Power 5 schedule, or a Power 4 team with a Power 4 schedule, and they're out of conference stuff, and then they're going to run their own schedule, their conference, their G5 conference. And you're going to have a ranked G5 team in the top 10. It's come close the last few years. I don't think we're that far away from it now that NIL's kind of been floating around long enough. I think it's coming around the corner, especially since the strength of schedule and strength of record are horrible for all these conference teams now. It's only going to take one or two G5 teams to step this up.
If Bob Chesney stayed at JMU, it would have been JMU.
Yep. Maybe Army.
Yeah.
they put some of those hundreds of trillions of dollars into the armed forces into that school.
You can pick, like South Alabama, like do a random, like real obscure school. I like Tulane as an option, or just a school that needs the help. That's really where you want to see where this
North
NFL.
Texas.
North Texas, I'm okay with them. That is definitely a school. You could look at Boise State. Finally, let them get over the hump. Like there's a lot of schools, and I don't hate too many schools overall. Right now, I'll go on the record saying I'm a Notre Dame and UCLA fan this year. So it's one of those things where I want to see the small schools. I want to see David beat Goliath at the end of the day, and NIL really is just going to help us get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're not G5, but let's see Kansas and Reno Montefiore, long snapper, friend of the program, get some shine this year.
That's right. I mean, I think every special teamer is by default now grandfathered in as a friend of the program through your work, P. Wagon. Okay, real quick with USC, yes or no? Like, you're happy? Are you happy or not happy with it?
They can go F themselves. I guess you're back. They came crawling back to us. Whatever. I guess they'll hit it one more time. I don't care if it's during the day or at night when it should be. If you're here, I'm gonna hit it.
Yeah, that was eloquent. I don't care if they're on the schedule. They're not on the schedule. Won't change my mind.
So follow up. In order for Notre Dame to get USC on the schedule, Tim briefly mentioned it. Indiana canceled on Notre Dame.
So Indiana canceled, and then it opened the door.
I'm disappointed by that. I'm not surprised with the way Indiana's been scheduling. I think Kurt Signetti had even said, like, why bother when the SEC doesn't with their out of conference schedule? And like, you just have both conferences blaming each other's conference for not playing tough out of conference schedules. It's ridiculous. I think it's particularly a shame. Like, it doesn't matter to us, but I mean, Indiana that's good hosting Notre Dame is a big deal for them. That would be one of the biggest games, like the Ohio State game will be this year for them in conference. It'll be one of the bigger games in their history. And I think they're kind of robbing their own fans of that.
They are.
It opens up another space. I mean, USC should have been on that schedule anyway. So in my opinion, there's still a space available. I think Notre Dame and Michigan, who are scheduled to return in 2033, I think they should maybe look at bridging that series earlier. I think you could start as early as 28, but 28, 29, 30, 31, get it back in there, guys. Get it going. I want those games back on the schedule. It's nice having, we have a series coming up with Auburn next year, Clemson for 12 in a row. Alabama soon, Texas soon, Florida soon. I'm happy with these, but I also want my rivals every year, and I think it's important to get kind of Michigan back on that rotation. Same thing with Michigan State. I know they're dog shit right now, but I love Michigan State. Playing them in Michigan back-to-back has always been a fun part of my childhood, so I'd like to see it for tradition's sake, but that's where we're at with it. Any thoughts there on scheduling?
Last thing, and this is Indiana's fault entirely. I'll leave my opinion about their coach off to the side because I don't want y'all to get my backlash. Indiana robbed Notre Dame of something super cool where if Notre Dame and Indiana played, it would have been the first time in Notre Dame football history that 100% of the fans in the stadium were Notre Dame fans.
There are a lot of them that have since converted, huh?
Dude,
They just had to turn the reversible jacket around. Depending on the
D-Wagon, at
driver.
that Indiana Notre Dame playoff game, people that had been going to Notre Dame the entire season games that showed up in Hoosier year, I'm like, the hell is this? I'm like, well, it's just for today. I'm really them at heart, but I really love Notre Dame, but because they're here, I feel like I have to support them. I'm like,
banished
like,
from the fan base.
And then they're like, here's my friend Stephanie. I'm like, yeah, you're in. Come here. But our future schedules looked awesome. Our future schedules do look awesome.
Yeah, we're going to have a season there where it's going to be Alabama, Texas, Clemson, and Miami in one season. So, gearing up for big time schedules, which I like. And we should play. I mean, we're Notre Dame. We've historically played the toughest schedules. Shout out at Kenneth Jones on Twitter. Ken Jones.
Yeah, well, next year's a wash too. But it's 2028 is when we come back to at least marquee games because we have Texas. They'll be good. Hopefully, maybe. Then you have Arkansas.
We get Auburn next year, which is decent.
Yes, we get Auburn next year. That's
Clemson
decent.
starts next year.
Clemson starts next year. But Auburn's always a barely bowl eligible team, and I don't think that's going to change between this year and next year. I do think they beat Bama this year. I do think that, but I don't think it's till 2028 where we have Texas, Arkansas, Clemson, Auburn, Miami. That's when we have half our schedules worth watching.
Florida State's on one of those schedules too. Not that they're good at the moment, but you never know with them. They could bounce back. And Virginia Tech is on the schedule too coming up, and I think James Franklin might be able to turn that program around just because, I don't like James Franklin. He's bald Brian Kelly, don't get me wrong, but even Brian Kelly was good at a certain level, and I think Virginia Tech is kind of that level of school where I think Franklin could do well. Like
Penn
Vanderbilt.
State.
He did good at Vanderbilt. He didn't do terrible at Penn State, but he didn't win any big games at Penn State. But he made Vanderbilt half decent. I think he could get Virginia Tech in a relatively weak ACC. Not year one, but I think by year 3 they should be competitive for the conference.
I think Penn State
year 4.
Year 4?
I'll give him 4 years and he's out.
I'm kind of with you. Although Virginia Tech's so bad now, if he's just 8-4 every year, I think they'd have to keep him. They're paying him too much, but I think they'd have to keep him. They're not paying him that much because they're splitting the cost with Penn State. Penn State's paying him right now the difference. So
there's a world where James Franklin gets Virginia Tech to be mid at best. He leaves, either retires or gets fired, and the prodigal son of Notre Dame football takes over Virginia Tech. Tommy Rees, head coach, Virginia Tech. Just put a pin in that. I don't hate it.
I think Tommy should get into. I hope he has a great coaching career because that could be one future coach for us. Hell yeah.
Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator this year. I'm just saying he could be a head coach eventually. Just throwing it out there.
He will be at some point. He will be a head coach at some place sometime eventually. I have no doubt about that.
All right. What else we got here, boys? Before we wrap this one up.
We could talk P-Wagon watched the whole thing. I watched part of it. But Marcus Freeman gave a press conference today. Welcome back to not fall, spring, fall, summer, fall camp. And said a few interesting things in there, and then maybe some touch on some of the injuries that were announced today as well.
Yeah, he talked like a coach, and Freeman doesn't really do that too often. I thought that was interesting, where a lot of his answers were non-answers, where he gave us the information that we knew was coming. The surprises were on the injury report that was sent out. I thought the most interesting thing that he said was that Teddy Gerard could be in contention to be QB2. It's just a matter of getting him up to speed, which is definitely very interesting and of note. Then a lot of it, it's hard to say. Like yes, you're excited because he's up there and he's talking about the season, but it was just so generic, which is good. He's off the coach's poll list. He found that out. He's like, "Oh, I didn't vote for this," and he found that out like on the podium, which was interesting. And it was a it was a speech. It wasn't like you heard one before a week 1 game, which I think is also good. He's prepping for what you need to hear. He's not giving too much out, which I think might be the new look of the team, where he's telling everyone that they have to practice hard but be smart. And a lot of what people are mentioning is how bad he is in September. And he said that's a January through August problem. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets his team into shape um, outside of the injuries. One interesting note is that Burris has a hamstring going on. So hopefully that doesn't start to be like Greathouse. And I'll let you all talk about the other injuries. I'm not too well informed. I've been following it a little bit, but that was of note. Burris being a little bit hampered, and then Jagersaw's arm being whatever it is. Are they going to have to put a new one on? Who knows? But that's what I took from the press conference.
Yeah, I did want to touch on the Jagusaw for sure, because a lot of people are like, is this guy living next to Levi Stadium where the 49ers play, next to the electric substation? Is that why he's hurt again? He's not hurt again. It's the same injury from last year, from the UTV incident where he had a left humerus fracture and he still had to get the surgery. The amount of debris and stuff that got on there made healing really difficult. They thought they cleaned it out 10 different times, kept getting infected. He's not, knock on wood, not infected anymore. He's been recovering since the last surgery he had, I think back in, I forget, I think it was like 3-4 months ago. And he is expected to play at some point this season, just not week 1. It might be week 6. It might be the playoffs again. Who knows? He might not play at all too. The most important thing is this is a student athlete and his health comes first. And if he goes out there because we force him out there too early and his arm snaps like a twig on the first snap, that would suck. And for him and for everyone, because no one wants to see that. So safety first. It's not a new injury. It's the same injury. The other notable injuries, Ashton Craig, returning starting center. He's left knee, had ACL surgery. He's still recovering. Quincy Porter, the Ohio State transfer, he had left knee to patella surgery, so he's not going to be in spring or fall camp. And these are all fall camp people that just aren't playing in fall camp, not expected to play their practice in fall camp, at least hard. They could be ready by week 1. We really don't know, and we won't know until the week of. Like you said, Christopher Burgess and Elijah Burris, both. Burgess on the defensive line, Burris as a wide receiver. Both hurt. Otherwise, the rest of our starters look okay. KVA's listed with a left knee ACL surgery that he had over the offseason, I believe. So the sky is not falling. A lot of names were announced today on Twitter. These are people that are going to be ready at some capacity in this season. They're just not going to go balls out in fall camp. And as P. Wagon said, Marcus Freeman did emphasize, it's important that they don't lose any intensity in practice. That he stressed that during their conference. He said, I don't want anyone taking a second off. I also want them to be smart, meaning they don't want what happened 2 years ago when CJ Carr was taking a snap as a redshirt and he got blown up and was hurt for a few weeks and he wasn't going to play. But why would you blow up your future? Like, just if you have a chance to murder someone, everyone knows you can murder him. Like, you don't have to murder him. At one point in high school, I had a chance to murder someone because he went up high, and I could have absolutely killed this kid. Instead, I just caught him and gently brought him to the ground and let him know that he will be able to go to prom this year because I didn't break his legs off. My coach got pissed at me for being a pussy. I said, you know what, that's fine. At least I still have a friend. And that's how you should approach those things when it's a practice. You should not be trying to kill teammates.
We live two separate lives there, Tim. I can tell you that, and must be that downstate New York versus upstate New York, because my practices were a living hell back in the day.
Oh, I would have killed him, but I actually would have actually killed him. I was ready to, and I pulled off. I would have actually killed this kid.
Now, the one other kind of note about the press conference that Freeman gave today, I thought when Schuler got up there, Bowen got up there, they were very eloquent in their talking. And the thing that scared me as a coach and also pumped me up as a coach was that Schuler said we left it to the judges. And if you all are a fan of the sweet science of boxing or MMA or whatever, you never want to leave it to the judges because the judges can screw you, which is scary because Schuler might actually kill a man this year. If he's going for a knockout blow, I cannot wait to see that happen.
Sometimes a targeting penalty is worth taking. I'll just throw that out there. Depending against who it is.
A little off topic, but this is kind of mildly breaking. You know Josh Pate, fellas, right?
Yes,
I do.
Josh Pate released his whole season prediction here for the playoff, and I don't know, you haven't seen this yet, have you? Because I kind of want to run this through with you live.
I'll pull it up so I can read through it.
Don't look at it.
Oh
I
my
want
God.
it to be a game.
I want subtitles.
Where do you think he ranked Notre Dame? Like, he predicted Notre Dame in the first round.
5.
Probably one.
He has us as the 1 seed, and he has us playing Oregon and winning. Then he has us playing Indiana and winning. And then he has us in the national championship game against Texas and winning. Josh Pate is predicting Notre Dame to win the national championship in 2026.
I'm fine with that. I think
that's a great segue.
Texas won't get there because Arch Manning is only a name. But other than that, I love it.
I think, we're getting closer to the season. That's a bit of a segue. Maybe we could leave on kind of this note. How are you guys feeling about this season? Do you think this could be it?
This could be it. This absolutely could be it.
Yeah. You know me. I don't like to get overly optimistic because then my heart gets shattered after they lose to Northern Illinois. And I think that was like the downfall of me in the podcast is they lost to Northern Illinois and I just lost all faith and hope in my eyes. But this is the most complete team I've read about in seasons, and if it's not this year, the window's there. That's all I'm gonna say is the window is there.
Yeah, we had highlighted this season as a podcast as kind of the window. It's open. It's been open. Now it's fully open, and I think you have a chance to go get it done. And even if you don't, this is your CJ Carr year to get it done. I'm not 100% convinced he's leaving at the end of the year, just because quarterbacks that kind of stay longer in college and get those reps tend to do better in the NFL. There's like pretty good data on that. And with this being a quarterback heavy class, I think there's maybe a chance he does come back as a senior. But even if it is your only Carr year, you are loaded at every position going forward. Like, this is not your only year. You'll need one of the quarterbacks to develop, but you've got 3, big time recruits in the room with more coming. I think this is truly the window. And I think with, to my point earlier about, college football changing, the landscape changing, the power, the tiers are changing. And we have a chance to just kind of, Tim, you like your NASCAR, when you're racing, there's a moment kind of where you can just switch gear and blow past somebody. And I think
not in this car.
I think there's a chance that Notre Dame right now is kind of neck to neck with a lot of these programs, and I think just with the way timing is working, I think there's no chance for Notre Dame to get ahead of the pack and to stay there.
I 100% agree with you. I think if Notre Dame wins a national championship this year, they really do set themselves up to become a dynasty with all the talent, like just not the talent they have now because they are loaded, but right behind them, they're reloading already. You have all these 5-star recruits, 4-star recruits. We've had 3 straight great years of great recruiting success, and that's not anticipated to change at all moving forward. That's the same expectation is going to be there. High recruiting class, good coaches, good facilities. NILs here now. We're planning like the environment is set for Notre Dame to do so. The only thing I'm looking at Josh Pate's model here right now. He's got Texas beating Ohio State in the semifinals. I am a man who has watched enough TV and lived long enough in life to know that there is somebody writing a story right now. The plot has already been written, and I think we're going to see another Notre Dame Ohio State national championship game.
Don't you curse us with that. I don't want to see them anymore.
Well, Dylan,
you overcome your adversity through failure and learning from that. And I think that would be the most satisfying, not because you're beating Ohio State like in particular, but because you've overcome something that you could not been able to overcome in seasons 1 through 4. Now, like in the
I'll
TV
take
show.
Alabama too. You know, we haven't been able to overcome them either.
Oh, well, they suck. They're not even make the playoff this year.
You know, I just want to leave you all with this. This leads me to a friend of mine. He was super fast. He was on top of the world really for quite a while. Then he got old, and the new party, the new hot kid in town came in and started winning all the races. This was a foot race, and he didn't know what to do, so he went to this person to say, "Hey, I need training," and he got training, but he sucked at it, and he realized that the game has passed him by. So he let the trainer race for him at the last race, and that's when Cruz Ramirez beat Jackson Storm in the Piston Cup to win in the final of Cars 3. I think we're seeing the same. I think we're seeing the same thing here now. The new age is here. The Freeman era is here. Lightning McQueen is done. It's Cruz Ramirez's race to win. And at the end of the day, CJ Carr, his Irish car bombs are going to lead Notre Dame to victory wherever that game might be in January. Ka-chow, go Irish.
It's in Vegas.
Well said. That's a great analogy. I mean, I'll have another heart attack if I have to play Ohio State, but there is something satisfying to it. I don't really care how we win. I don't care who we play. It could be the most unethical national championship of all time. We could stumble into a final against a G6 opponent who
Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky, whose quarterback is injured and coach has just died. I don't care. I just want to win a national championship. I'll take it any way I can get it. And I think we're getting really, really close. This might be the year. So stay tuned for season 9 of the Four Horsemen podcast. I can't believe it's been almost a decade of this. I want to thank everybody for listening. At Horseman Pod, you can rate, review, 5 stars, please. Give us a follow at Horseman Pod, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get your social media. A big thank you to the original, the founder of this podcast, P Wagon, for coming on. Hopefully we hear from him more often. He's always such a great time. So I'll let you guys maybe say some final words before we sign off here.
I got all jazzed up there before with my Cars analogy. I got nothing right now. I could have went Paw Patrol, but I'm glad I went with Cars. It was great being back on. Love chopping it up. If I get pissy again and I feel the need to hop on, I know where to find y'all. I appreciate everyone for listening to us for 9 years. Keep it up. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. And yeah, if you get mad at me for anything, I'm sorry, but I just spit the truth, and I have been doing it for quite a while now. Tim?
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
I'll finish with a Lou Holtz joke that I tell often.
Which that should have been the patch.
They better do something with Lou on the uniform, I agree. Probably like with Era on the helmet. But let me just finish with this. Do you know why students go to USC? Because it's easier to spell than UCLA. Go Irish.